Ground was broken in the spring of 1886. For the walls, architect Cobb selected granite boulders of St. Joe County, deposited there during the Ice Age. The trim is of sandstone. Tippecanoe Place has approximately 40 rooms. Each of its 20 fireplaces is totally different in appearance. They range from massive and imposing Romanesque styles to those in the bedrooms, which are Eastlake in description. The home also contained an elaborate central heating system of gravity-fed hot water fired by a coal and wood boiler. The walls and ceilings in several rooms are paneled with solid oak. The grand staircase is especially beautiful. The grand staircase is the most impressive feature of the mansion. The delicate and intricate carvings and the reclining winged lion guarding the base of the stairs impart an unequaled grandeur to the main hall. Every exterior window in the house is shuttered, and in each room the shutters match the mood and the predominating wood in that room. After nearly 100 years of use, the shutters still fold back into their casings with the same ease as they did originally. They, along with other details, are a tribute to the unknown craftsmen of South Bend. The Studebaker family took possession of their new home in February 1889. On September 13, 1889, Mr. and Mrs. Studebaker celebrated their 25th wedding anniversary with a party in their new house. About 2 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday, October 9, 1889, a fire was discovered that extensively damaged the mansion. Mrs. Studebaker was painfully burned when she made her way from the bedroom to the nursery and rescued her grandson. The South Bend Tribune estimated damages at perhaps $300,000. It was estimated that it would take in excess of $75,000 to repair the building alone. The mansion was insured for only $25,000. Portions of the roof collapsed, and the third floor was extensively damaged. The second and first floors escaped the flames but suffered severe damage from water. 10 days after the fire, the Studebakers entertained 150 members of the Pan American Congress for a luncheon following their tour of South Bend's industries. The mansion was then restored to its original condition. Clement Studebaker died in 1901. His wife continued to occupy the mansion until her death in 1916. The house was willed to their son George, and his family lived there until shortly after the announcement of his bankruptcy in September of 1933, when they were forced to seek more modest quarters. He was then 68 years old. Among the industries that George had invested in and lost his fortune, estimated at $6 million, was the South Bend Watch Company. The building remained unoccupied until it was used by the Red Cross during World War II. It was purchased in 1941 for $20,000 by E.M. Morris, founder of the Associates Investment Company, and donated to the South Bend school system for use as a school for handicapped children. After the school system vacated the building in 1970, control reverted back to the Morris family heirs. They donated the building to Southold Restorations Incorporated. The building has been repaired and redecorated and is presently occupied by a fine restaurant. The present occupants are excellent tenants and gracious hosts, and encourage visitors to stroll throughout the mansion to see all of the rooms during their visits. This is the J.M. Studebaker building, located at 108 North Main Street in downtown South Bend. Built in 1910, this classic revival style structure was a private business venture of the J.M. Studebaker family and had no connection to Studebaker Manufacturing Company. It continues to serve the community today as an office building with retail space occupying the first floor. The original Studebaker wagon manufacturing facilities were at the southwest corner of Michigan and Jefferson Streets in South Bend. In 1874, they erected a 4-story building on this site for the manufacture of carriages. After Studebakers vacated this structure, it was used to house the first S.S. Kresge store in South Bend. Kresge occupied this structure until the 1970s. In spite of protests from many of South Bend's citizens, the building was torn down when Kresge vacated. Today, this plaque marks the location of the original site of the Studebaker Works in South Bend. In Riverview Cemetery at 2300 Portage Avenue, we find the final resting place of J.M. Studebaker. Born October 13, 1833, he died on March 17, 1917, at the age of 83. Outliving his other 4 brothers, he had seen his simple blacksmith shop become one of the foremost vehicle manufacturing companies in the world. Shortly after his death, Studebaker sold off the balance of his wagon-making business and equipment. In Bowman Cemetery, at 1700 South Miami Street, is the final resting place of the eldest Studebaker brother, Henry, his 2 wives, and many of his 10 children. Henry, born October 2, 1826, sold his interest in H&C Studebaker to J.M. and retired to a farm near this site in 1856. He died on March 2, 1895, at the age of 68. An interesting variation of the Studebaker name is seen directly behind Henry's monument. Samuel and Lydia Studebaker were the parents of Henry's first wife, Susan. This is the entrance to City Cemetery on South Bend's west side at Colfax Avenue and LaPorte Streets. It contains the grave sites of Jacob and Peter Studebaker. Jacob Studebaker, the youngest of the 5 brothers, was the first brother to die. He was born May 26, 1844, and died December 17, 1887, at the age of 43. After his graduation from Notre Dame University, he served the company as manager of its carriage works. Peter Studebaker, second youngest brother, was born April 1, 1836, and died October 9, 1897, at the age of 61. A partner in the company, he was involved primarily in the sales and marketing of Studebaker products. 8 miles west of South Bend, on State Road 2, is located the main gate to Studebaker's 800-acre proving grounds. To the right of the entrance road is the clubhouse, and to the left are buildings 89 and 90. These brick and steel frame garages, each with over 8,000 square feet of floor space, were built in 1926. The clubhouse, also built in 1926, is a brick and wood frame structure with 2 floors and a basement, and contains 8,000 square feet of floor space. Never intended as a residence, it was extensively remodeled in 1961 and used by then Studebaker President Sherwood Egbert as his home during his short reign in South Bend. After Studebaker ceased production of automobiles, the entire facility was sold to the Bendix Corporation. Bendix then donated the northwest quarter, including the clubhouse, to the St. Joseph County Park Department to be used as Bendix Woods County Park. The park, open year-round, contains picnic areas among the Studebaker pine tree sign, and during the winter months, a ski slope with lifts and an artificial snow machine. The large Studebaker sign in the lower right-hand corner of this picture is an evergreen planting of over 8,000 trees. Each letter is 225 feet high, and the sign is more than 1/2 mile in length. Day and night, winter and summer, engineers and technicians ferreted out the facts at this 800-acre outdoor testing laboratory. Sand roads, gravel roads, blacktop, straight, and crooked roads, smooth, rough, and cross-country roads, steep grades, water hazards, and a 3-mile, high-speed, concrete-paved oval test track duplicated just about everything that can happen to a car in actual use. Besides the many fatigue and resistance trails, effects of water on such parts as ignition systems, brakes, shackles, and bearings were studied in detail at the proving grounds. Overhead jets at the water trough could be used to simulate a cloudburst. The depth of the water in the trough could be governed from nothing to 6 feet deep. Sustained high-speed tests were carried out on the 3-mile paved speedway. Super elevation on the curves permitted taking them under full throttle. 30, 40, and 60% embankments permitted the engineers to study body roll, car stability, and engine operations under conditions of extreme inclinations. All these and many other facilities were utilized in pre-testing Studebaker cars and trucks. This building, located at 520 South Lafayette Boulevard, built in 1921 with an addition in 1927, contains 65,000 square feet and was designated as Building Number 70. It was used as a factory dealership and also housed the factory zone offices. In 1927, the building and business were sold to private interests. The dealership eventually became known as Freeman Spicer Studebaker Sales and was the largest Studebaker dealer in the world. Today, it is the home of part of the collection of the Studebaker National Museum. Billed as one museum under 2 roofs, the other half can be seen at Century Center in downtown South Bend. As we tour these 2 facilities, we will hear a 1952 promotional record about the centennial celebration that was distributed to dealers and salesmen who were unable to attend the festivities.
Listen, listen, for this is a story we all helped write, a story of the growth of America, the story of American enterprise. The world's largest independent manufacturer of motor cars proudly presents the noted actor, Mr. Raymond Massey, who will narrate the dramatic story of a great American company. We shall hear a living documentation of the growth and success of this company, with a history almost twice as long as that of the automobile itself. Here now is Mr. Massey and the Studebaker story.
Our United States has long been referred to as the land of freedom and opportunity. Freedom, one of the most valuable words in our language, means basically that each of us can do precisely what we please with all that is exclusively our own. that each of us may work at a job of our own choosing. Opportunity means that each of us shall be given an equal chance to attain success. In the light of present world events, it is refreshing indeed to relate the Studebaker story, if only to remind ourselves that the way we live and work in America is by far the best and most comfortable and most satisfying that man has yet devised, and that has been developed by free men actively exercising their freedom. Recently at South Bend, Indiana, the Studebaker Corporation was honored by a testimonial dinner. Some of America's most eminent citizens, leaders of labor, business, and government took part in the centennial celebration for the company. Let us listen to some of the things they had to say on that occasion. In that way, we may gain an insight into the philosophies, the doctrines, and opinions of those who manage our industries, direct our labor unions, and serve as our governmental leaders. First, here is the voice of the Honorable Henry F. Schricker, Governor of the state of Indiana.
The name Studebaker is known around the world. It represents integrity, enterprise of the highest character. We may well remember tonight that this business, starting from a little blacksmith shop 100 years ago, is truly a part of our American heritage.
Yes, Governor Schricker, truly a part of our American heritage. Now let us turn back the calendar to 1852, the year history recorded the humble beginnings of today's great Studebaker Corporation. With just $68 worth of capital, two of the famous 5 Studebaker brothers opened a blacksmith and wagon building shop at South Bend. Their motto was, always give a little more than you promise. In modern merchandising terms, it can perhaps be better expressed as building product quality to ensure customer satisfaction. However, since its inception, Studebaker has known that it takes more, much more than mere slogans to gain the confidence of the public. Mr. Paul G. Hoffman, former president of Studebaker, gets to the heart of the matter with these well-chosen words.
If I were thinking of the one thing in which I take the most pride in the record of Studebaker, it's in the record of the relationship between men and management.
Naturally, Mr. Hoffman is mindful of other salient data. He could have dwelt on the point, but did not. But Studebaker has over 3,000 dealers, independent businessmen selling the company's products to their friends, their neighbors, their fellow citizens of their own communities. This is the way America works. Woodrow Wilson explained our way of life with these memorable words. America is not a mere body of traders. It is a body of free men. Our greatness is built upon freedom, is moral, not material. We have a great ardor for gain, but we have a deep passion for the rights of man. Studebaker has long been recognized as a leader in the field of labor management relations. It is proud of the fact that generations of its employees, thousands of father and son teams, scores of grandfather, father and son teams, 3 generations, work shoulder to shoulder along Studebaker assembly lines. We turn now to the text delivered by Mr. Walter P. Reuther, president of the UAW-CIO. Mr. Reuther began his speech by saying,
It's a real privilege to join with you in this celebration of the Studebaker Corporation's 100th birthday. This is a new experience for me. I have never been to a 100th birthday party before. And the thing that's very unusual is that when a labor leader gets invited to a birthday of a company, that's something new in America. And I don't know of a better place to make that kind of a beginning than in a party of the Studebaker Corporation.
Mr. Reuther then warned us to beware of those who would destroy our way of life, and offered the success of this company as proof of the value of our American economic system.
And this